microphone!
3 Voltron videos in a row? What is this, some kind of elaborate coping mechanism? Well, hey folks, you get this, or Lady and the Tramp 2. I'm not about to put the new Voltron seasons on hold so I can review this piece of capitalist American dream propaganda. So many white people. Welcome! Let's take this review one episode at a time, shall we? I died. Okay, no, I kid. Back to changing of the guard. I wanted Keith to blow up over Shiro because he's the fucking embodiment of fire. Like, he's such a stubborn, passionate lad. How could he not be upset at the loss of Shiro? But like, I did not expect this level of grief.
Tell them to stand up and fight for themselves. Voltron is gone.
Tim Hendricks' writing murdered me and FedExed my remains to the middle of the Pacific Ocean, but by God, do I not give a shit about my mortal body right now because I have ascended to motherfucking godhood. I can hear colors.
No. I'm gonna find him. Shiro is the one person who never gave up on me. I won't give up on him.
I do really like that Lance was the one to approach Keith first. It's the first sign of him really stepping into the role of Keith's confidant. So, good for you, buddy.
I've got my eye on you, though.
But the worst part is when Lance, Pidge, and Hunk come up to comfort Keith, this happens. Like, Pidge talks about Shiro's legendary history, Lance calls Shiro his hero, Hunk talks about Shiro as his teacher. All of Keith's friends, they know Shiro as a hero first, a mentor. But Keith and Shiro's bond goes deeper than a student-mentor relationship. You can tell how close they are by the way Shiro, ever the stoic leader, is willing to be vulnerable around Keith. In Tailing a Comet, it's even hinted that Keith is the only one allowed in Shiro's room when he first gets back to the castle. Keith sees Shiro as a person first, as someone who's been through a lot no less and needs support. And support Shiro he does, over and over and over and over and over. How is Keith supposed to relate to this pep talk? How is he supposed to feel comforted when there's such an obvious disconnect between his relationship with Shiro and that of the other paladins?
I know exactly how you feel, but our mission is bigger than any one individual. Even those who are completely irreplaceable.
Oh no. Oh no. It's Mei-chan. This Mei-chan. This Mei-chan. I apologize if I'm pronouncing her name. I actually wrote her name in my fanfic notebook because I enjoy blaming her for my emotional transgressions. You gave me these feelings, and now you'll face the consequences. Hey, what do you know? More Keith feelings. Good thing I don't have a tangible form right now or I'd be having a hernia. Okay, but like, what the fuck? Does anybody else hate how much of a dick Lance was in this scene? Like, I know Lance isn't the most observant character, but how do you get so wrapped up in your rivalry with someone that you accuse them of using their friend's death to their advantage?
Well, I never heard Shiro say that, and how convenient that you're bringing it up now when Shiro is gone.
Like, does Lance really think Keith would manipulate Shiro's death like that? Lance is kind of a dick. He kind of makes me want to throw myself out a window. And I understand that he's a soft side and a nice side and an insecure side, but that doesn't excuse when he's a fucking dick. Hey, you know who's great? Lotor. Lotor's awesome. I love how he practically reduces the lions to playthings, but like, let's be honest here. Out of the evil squad, Zethrid is my favorite. Sorry guys, she's officially my wife now. Nothing you can do. What? You want to fight me on this? You think I'll back down? I'm pumped, man. Let's go. Let's fight right now. Does this make me a fool? The planet in this episode is so fucking fantastic. The atmosphere is so rich. Like, look at this shit. The mood is so dark and mysterious, that deep red and chilling blue. The colors are so nice. Really serve the tone. And the jokes all landed for me. Even Hunk's bit about food, which doesn't often happen for me.
Hey, bitch, here's the scenario. You're stranded on a scary gas planet and you only have one food to eat for the rest of your life. What's it gonna be?
Oh god, and the cinematography. I love the way the lions line up in this shot, and there's so many dynamic shots throughout the episode, and the crew fucking nailed them all. Like, I love how they arranged that frame. That's so clever. Look at the motion. Look at the way they split that up. Oh my god. God? Is that you, God? Whoever I can blame for this.
Thank you.
Lotor's getting away! Should we go after him?
No. Pushing the team too hard is what got us in this mess in the first place. We'll face him again when we're ready.
Roger that, team leader.
Yep. Not like anyone's trying to catch up with you or anything. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I love Hole in the Sky. I'm biased on that front because I fucking love Slav. Like, I struggle with a type of OCD and anxiety that makes me really nervous about reality.
Am I actually asleep right now? Am I in a coma? I mean, there's no way to prove that I'm experiencing reality right now or that anything exists because human senses are so limited.
So every time Slav shows up on screen, I'm like... And yeah, Slav's in this episode. He and Shiro are bros in this alternate reality, and Shiro is like Sven from the original series, and he dies about the same way. God, this episode feels like fan fiction. Like, I really wish they'd played around more with the moral ambiguity of this situation, because the Alteans aren't exactly subtle about being galactic dictators.
With this material, Altea can create their own trans-reality traveling ships. We can spread our peace and stability to all realities.
Yep, they're evil. That guy sounds sketchy as fuck.
Maybe you should think about this, Allura. It wasn't that long ago that we thought all Galra were bad. Maybe things aren't as black and white as she's making them out to be.
If the Voltron crew really wanted to explore different shades of morality here, they needed to make this guy a lot less creepy. The show tells us that these guys are bad almost right out of the gate, so there's no time to make up our own minds. Like, don't get me wrong, I hate this non-cog bullshit. Like, these guys are slaves, end of story. But if I'd been trapped in a cycle of war for thousands of years, yeah, I might resort to that kind of tomfuckery too. There's a story here we didn't get to see, and that, I don't know, that gets sad. These kind of dictators are charismatic. They use stability as an excuse to commit atrocities, but they're subtle bastards. They work their way up to the big guns because they need to fool the public long enough to get them on board. By contrast, these guys are practically wearing I'm evil t-shirts. Like, I'll cut Voltron some slack. They only had one episode to make this plot work, and it's hard to have a serious conversation about dictatorships and slavery when this stuff is going on in the background.
I'll be fine. Just get me to Space Hospital.
Still fucking love this episode.
I love this reality!
Oh my god! What the fuck? Is that a clone? Is he a clone? Wait, what? Which one is the clone? Which one is Operation Corrode? Oh my fucking Christ. Oh, thank God that's over. No, what the fuck? Keith, turn your fat ass around. Your boyfriend is right fucking behind you. Okay, so here's my theory. Backtrack to season 1, episode 1. We see Shiro struggle to activate his arm for the first time. There are theories that this is Shiro overriding a sort of safety lock, since the Galra wouldn't give Shiro a weapon like that if they weren't confident they could control it. In this scene, Shiro essentially breaks the Galra's hold on his arm, and that's all fine and good until the season 2 finale, Blackout. Zarkon puts his hands around Voltron's head, Shiro, and shoots him through with purple quintessence. We see Shiro struggling as electric shocks run through his armor. He manages to activate the Bayard, and that's the last time we see Shiro, locking his Bayard into the slot with his Galra hand. I propose that this electrical charge rebooted Shiro's arm, allowing the Galra to regain some control over his hand, possibly even part of his mind, given what Hunk said before about the direct link between his arm and his brain.
Galra could have implanted fake memories of the escape in your head.
Oh, come on, that would be so evil. Which, of course, they are. But they'd have to come up with some molecular level storage unit, which his hand does have, but to be linked up to memory, it would need a direct pathway to his brain, which... yeah.
Basically, the Galra somehow used the arm and Shiro's newfound teleporting ability to zip him back to a Galra ship. And yes, actually, by the way, I do think this guy is a clone because his hand doesn't have lines down the middle anymore, he gets weird headaches, and the whole Nixella debacle seems a little too convenient for me. Oh no, we're trapped on this specific planet! What a perfectly placed trap! Who would have thought? The witch, that's who! She's using Shiro to chip away at Voltron using his Galra arm, and no one can convince me otherwise. Oh, alright. Fine. They're cute. I'll give you that. I'll give you it, Clance shippers. Just for this scene, I will add another tally to the whiteboard. Also, I'm gonna need another 5 months of therapy to recover from this part.
Hey, Keith?
Yeah.
How many times are you gonna have to save me before this is over?
As many times as it takes.
Hi guys, my name's Cushfuddled, and today I'm going to be teaching you how to paint my feelings. Right now, we're going to be keeping to the left side of the W first, because that way I'll be able to move across without smearing, because I have a tendency to put my hand on the paper, and that's not good when we have wet medium on the paper. If you make a mistake, that's alright. God will remember, but you don't have to. Maybe in our last 8 seconds of life, when they say we go back and relive moments, what if this is us reliving it, and this is wow, that's a lot. And that's it. Thanks for coming to my painting tutorial on my feelings. Now get the fuck out of my house.
Chris Palmer, why you gotta go breaking my heart? God, this feels like watching my parents fight. Wow. I'm not emotionally prepared for this arc. Obviously, this wedge is just gonna get deeper and deeper between these two until something finally snaps. Or we could just watch a flashback episode. Okay. Why didn't I like this episode? It had all the good shit. Swashbuckling Brits, young Corrode, beautiful animation, Zarkon flipping his shit over a cat.
What is that?
Also, I find this bit spectacularly adorable, so yeah, you get a pass, episode. You did good. It felt like an exposition dump, and I think that hindered the ride for me, but I mean, I didn't know the main characters of this episode, so the plot points often felt like, yep, that's a thing that happened. That's another thing that happened. Oh, good to know how that thing happened. Cool beans. I mean, you can tell the Voltron crew are aware that this episode lacks that emotional connection. I wish they'd been able to give us more time with these characters, but you get what you get. This part feels like foreshadowing. This is gonna get paralleled later at some point. I can feel it in my titties, and I am full of fear. This season came out the day before my birthday. Wow, this episode was fucking sad. Wow. Whose fucking fault is it? Fuck, God, you're gonna make me go on another Keith rant, and I've already devoted so much time to talking about him. Keith decides to leave Voltron. Why? He doesn't believe he belongs on the team anymore. When Shiro was presumed dead, Keith piloted the Black Lion out of duty. There was no big moment between Keith and Black like there was between Keith and Red, or when Shiro bonded with Black, or even when Allura bonded with Blue. Just like in Across the Universe, Keith flew Black for Shiro. That's the extent of their bond.
This one's for you, Shiro.
And when Shiro returns, Keith tries to get him to take Black back. And when that doesn't work, he fucking decides to pack his bags. So yeah, no leadership position please, and he's not about to kick Lance out of the Red Line because he knows Lance is sensitive about his place on the team already, and he's doing fine, maybe even great, we don't know, as the Red Paladin. Plus, if Lance left red for blue, like Lance mentioned earlier, Allura wouldn't have a lion. So Keith decides, welp, I don't fit here anymore. My presence only causes anger and confusion. I'm going to go find somewhere where I'm useful. And the team lets Keith go because they are respectful of his wishes and they believe he wants to leave. But he doesn't. Like, look at that face. Keith doesn't want to fucking go. And you know what's even worse? If Keith doesn't belong with Voltron, I don't think he belongs with the Blade either. Like Allura points out, they don't need him.
I suppose what I'm trying to say is, the Marmora can go on without you. They have for thousands of years. Voltron cannot.
Oh, and there's this fun part where Keith can't save Regris. This felt like a huge blow to me. Keith runs back and rescues Regris at the last minute on that first mission, but like, on what could very well be the very next mission, Regris dies in an explosion. Just think about the futility of the situation. The message at this point boils down to, you can't save anyone, Keith. You don't belong anywhere. Absolutely delightful. Oh, and don't you love how Keith floats through space here, and 2 seasons ago you know the Red Lion would have barreled across time and space to get to him, but this time Red's busy and Keith's all on his own?
Okay, guys, so, yeah, the Red Lion ran away.
Like, yeah, thanks for the hug, Voltron. That totally makes up for everything. I'm fine. I'm fine. Oh, thank fucking God. I was honestly wondering how long they were gonna drag this out. I'm so glad Paige found her brother. Oh, they're so cute. Look at them. I love them so much. I love this episode's tone, too. The fact that someone frickin' died practically under Pidge's hands? Like, holy shit, my dudes. What a setup for the rest of the episode. And then Pidge finds the gravesite. How the fuck did the writers get this past the studio executives? Like, there's nothing ambiguous about this scene. Those are thousands of graves. Thousands of soldiers who lost their lives in the fight against the Galra. Like, plenty of casualties were implied by the scope of the war, but the loss of life was hard to grasp from a distance. This scene made it tangible. The truth is, cartoon action shows have a habit of making war look kind of fun. And call me a downer or whatever, but I think that approach can get dangerous. It's good to show kids the consequences of violence. And I love when Voltron pulls back the curtain and reminds the audience that, hey, this ain't all fun and games, kids. People are suffering. People are dying. War fucking sucks.
Matthew Holt, 0010052.
I'm so sorry. I was too late.
I'm just so happy. Aww. Aww. Oh! Not a lot else to say about this episode, except that I, love Pidge and Matt, and I love Pidge's room. Like, look, she kept the Lance trash statue! And this scene happened.
Watch and learn.
On a critical note, I feel like Voltron's been doubling down on the anime effects recently, like the chibis and the stylized expressions and all that. My friends have complained about it, and yeah, I'll complain about it too. Like, I know some people are perfectly fine with this style, but I don't like how those chibis look, and I'm with Tracy Butler on this one. I prefer more dynamic expressions that make use of the characters' real faces rather than those anime emoticon faces. Like, the Voltron animators are fucking expression masters when they want to be. Like, look at that! Stay with this! Don't leave me! The first time I watched this episode, I disliked it because, like, why? I felt like there were so many plot threads that Voltron could have picked up and, like, done something with, but they were like, filler! But the second time I watched it, I absolutely loved it. The writers said this episode was all about poking fun at themselves, and yeah, I'm sure they are, but I also read this as them slaughtering the studio executives. People like Lauren and DeSantos have commented that they actually have a good amount of freedom under DreamWorks, but there's still a force keeping them from pursuing longer, more, like, poignant arcs. I get the sense that a lot of people who got hooked on Voltron saw its potential and expected it to go to more meaningful places in later seasons. But there's an authority figure somewhere pressing for more fight scenes and more kid-friendly content and bright, flashy colors. For example, the crew originally planned to let Shiro stay dead for longer, but were forced to bring him, or at least his clone, back to maintain toy sales. Yes, really. I'll get back to that later.
I'm a visionary! I have thoughts, ideas! I don't need you anyway! I'll rewrite the show, get rid of the whole lot of you, replace you with new paladins, and the show will be better than ever before! Except for you, Shiro. I'll never get rid of you. You're our most popular character. But the rest of you will never work in show business again!
So yeah, back to this episode. It's filler. And I love it. The animation on Corrode is fucking incredible. Every time that shoulder roll happens, I lose my shit all over again. The expressions, the wild gestures, the bit with everyone yelling at each other.
Keith, I need your help! I'm on it! Look out, it's firing his lasers!
So yeah, once I'd embraced the filler vibe, I had a fantastic time.
What? Stop talking! You're Shiro the hero! Heroes don't speak! You're silent ninja!
But...
Zip it! Muscles speak louder than words, right? It's always been my motto. Now put on the super tight shirt and get out there!
Does this mean I finally get to talk about mirror characters? Because yeah, Lotor is Keith's mirror. Both are half Galra hybrids who take over for their respective leaders at the start of Season 3. They were both abandoned by their mothers, they were not sure how much Lotor knows on that front, and they both command a team of 4 quirky pilots in a battle for the universe. And in Season 4, they're both forced off those teams. One of the telling differences between Keith and Lotor is their relationship to their respective leaders. From what we've seen thus far, Lotor feels nothing but disdain for Zarkon. His goal is to overtake him as the leader of the Galra. Keith, on the other hand, deeply cares about Shiro and does not want the leadership position. It's fun comparing and contrasting these two, and I'm sad we didn't get to dwell more on their paralleled rise to power. I bring this up now because this episode features Axe's betrayal. I watched this and I was like, fuck, we needed more time with these characters. This could have been such an emotional moment, but for me, I hadn't seen enough of Lotor and Axe to really feel the gut punch of the twist. I'm gonna talk about this again towards the end of the review, but know for now that yeah, I feel like Voltron missed out on this arc big time. Not a lot else happens this episode that I feel the need to comment on.
And I'll do what I must.
Holy fuck, Lotor just dislocated his fucking arms! What the shit? Shit's going down. Fuck, that shot was great. Oh, holy fuck. Oh my god. Imagine being part of the team that got to produce that clip. They better be fucking proud of themselves because that was so amazing.
No one trained you to save the Balmera, but you did that. I know you can do it. There's a reason the Blue Lion chose you. You're the one who brought everyone together. You can do this. Every moment we've had together, they've all led to this day. This is your destiny. You are the heart of Voltron.
Okay, I'll try.
So whatever, thanks for being there for Allura. I get the feeling that they're gonna get together by the end of the series, and I still don't know how to feel about that. At the beginning, she was obviously really not interested in him, and that should be respected, and now I feel like they're gonna reward him for that by giving him the girl, and that just, I don't know, it makes me feel kind of weird. But I'm really proud of Lance, because he did a good job, and he's there for Keith, and he stopped being such an asshole. So thanks a lot for the development. I'm really proud, and everything is awesome. I was so caught up in this moment that I forgot Keith had plot armor. My friend Haley and I were screaming together at the screen like, holy shit, Keith, what the fuck are you doing? Keith, holy shit, don't do it! Hey, you know what's a sad parallel? Shiro, or Clone Shiro, floating through the stars in a stolen Galra cruiser, and in what he thinks are his last moments, he closes his eyes and thinks about his friends. And then in this episode, Keith's in his stolen Galra cruiser, and in what he thinks are his last moments, he closes his eyes, and we don't get to see what he's thinking about. No flashbacks, just Keith, alone, streaking towards death. And if Lotor hadn't showed up at the last second, Keith would have died, and the first words out of Shiro's mouth would have been,
"Good work, Keith."
Wow. Like, that's pretty fucked up, Voltron. Pretty fucked up. So anyway, a lot of people didn't like this season. I've asked my friends why, and I've gotten a variety of answers. The recurring complaint has to do with a lack of narrative follow-through. Voltron has a habit of setting up really cool arcs and then just not delivering on them. I said I'd get back to the toy Shiro thing, and yeah, here we are. The writers wanted to keep Shiro out of the narrative for longer, but the studio executives forced them to bring him back early on behalf of toy sales. And the story really suffered for it. We needed more time with Keith in power. As it is, we got 3 episodes of Keith either refusing the leadership position or fucking everything up, followed by exactly 1 episode of him actually leading the team. By the next episode, Shiro's back. We get a quick clip of a successful mission before the conflict begins between Keith and Shiro, and that was way too fast for me. Because there's obviously potential here. Shiro's absence forced the characters to grow. Keith had to reach out of his loner role and be a leader. Allura had to learn to listen, and the Blue Lion uses sonic waves, you know, vibrations, sound. The Blue Lion uses listening to find the other paladins. I love that. And Lance has to let go of his rivalry and prop Keith up as his second. The way things turned out, all these developments feel rushed to me and kind of unreal. We needed more time with the Lion switch up to feel the weight of these changes. But DreamWorks needed Shiro toys, I guess. God, this makes me sad. I love Voltron, and I do like seasons 3 and 4, but they could have made this arc so much better, and you can tell they wanted to. I would have missed Shiro, of course, but that's what I'd want to see and not about what the story needed. There's also Keith's decision to leave for the Blade. It makes sense for Keith to leave. Like I said, he doesn't feel like he belongs with Voltron anymore, and he doesn't agree with Shiro's decisions. But the way they just kind of threw in this bit, like, I respect your decision to train with the Blade, like, whoa, 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 slow down there, narrative. Are you sure you want to skip over that part? Yeah? Okay. There's also this problem of, like, characters who appear and then disappear. I love Slav so much, but he kind of poofs out of existence after season 2. Where did he go? I expected to see him around the castle, but at this point we've only gotten a cameo from the alternate reality. So, did he have a family to go home to? And then the Blades have a habit of like, oh, here I am, and then they die. Why do you do this? You wanna give us some time with these guys before you kill them off, Voltron? Maybe? Cauliflan's got plot armor at this point because right now he's the only Blade left that we recognize. There's this pattern of, ooh, I can't wait to see where they go with this character, and he's gone. Wow, that was a really cool power. I wonder how that'll come into play later, and she's dead. Damn, Lotor feels like a fresh kind of villain. I love how he's so similar to Keith and so different at the same time. I can't wait to see his team match off with Voltron, and he's switching sides now. Like, at this point, should we trust Voltron to follow through with its narrative arcs? Will this clone plot reach a natural conclusion? While we're on a negative crusade, let's talk about tone. In my first Voltron review, I concluded that you could bounce between light and dark elements without creating a dissonant tone, so long as you connected those elements with, like, a thread of tension. For example, you could ping between Shiro and Keith fighting for their lives and Allura getting licked by space cattle so long as both scenes shared an element of tension. And the current me thinks that argument is bullshit. Looking back and across the universe, I didn't actually enjoy all of Allura and Karan shenanigans. Like, I loved Karan, as always, but the silliness did take me out of the story sometimes. And that's because Voltron was trying to balance a lot of different elements within one episode. It's difficult because Voltron has this giant range of tone to explore, and I don't think they always know what to do with it. On one end of the spectrum, you have the big, cheesy villain, and the body humor, and the food jokes, and the talking mice, and the cow. And on the other hand, you have elements like torture, and death, and slavery, and abandonment issues. There's a lot going on, and sometimes I feel like the team, well, it doesn't drop the ball so much as try to cram a bunch of balls together without giving the audience enough time to process all of them. With all these elements they want to explore, and with executives always pushing for more fight scenes and cutting down screen time for emotional arcs, there's going to be some tonal dissonance. Some people aren't going to mind, but here's where I sit right now. I love the cheesy bits with Zarkon and Hager. I love the mice and the cow and the team's banter, and I also love when Voltron tackles stuff like Shiro's PTSD and actually explores the emotional turmoil of the cast. I do not like the body humor and the food jokes, as usual. I also hate to think the Voltron crew wanted to go deeper with arcs about Allura and Karan's loss of Altea, or the morality of the Alteans from the alternate reality, or the culture of the Galra, or the history of the Paladins, or the Paladins' adventures generally, without Shiro, but were forced to condense everything because children show. Conclusion. I wish the creators had more time to fully flesh out their plots. I wish I didn't feel like the last 2 seasons were on fast forward, and sometimes the back and forth tone rubs me the wrong way. But I love this show, and I'm so glad I get to be a part of this fandom. Have a good day, y'all, and I don't have a clever outro. Like, all the other YouTubers have like that thing that they say at the end of their videos. The skin is the biggest muscle in the butt. Nope, it's not a muscle. That's a lie. The skin is not a muscle. The skin is the biggest organ. Okay, that's my outro.
I have so many feels over things that aren't real. I stare at my computer screen. I don't know